The extraterrestrials are already on their way to. Greetings, internet users. The infinite vastness of the universe is astonishing. There are billions of galaxies, each containing over 100 billion stars, and even more planets. If only 1% of them had some form of life, the fundamental question is whether they could already be on their way to us. Although we haven't seen anything yet, we might be alone because we were the first to arise. However, other possibilities exist, and some are terrifying. They might not only be en route to Earth, but could also be studying us already. We could be on the verge of entering into competition with other life forms. This video is based on scientific articles, and you will see interesting data from various studies, so you should consider them as only a plausible hypothesis. Now, we need to address three very important questions to understand competition in the galaxy. The majority of planets where life has emerged will host unicellular beings. It's inevitable that life starts in this manner on a multitude of worlds. So, as quickly as these bacteria can develop technology and build spacecraft, transforming into an intelligent civilization with spacefaring capabilities isn't easy. Life requires a period of adaptation and change to evolve into more complex organisms. Environmental competition and challenges on some planets may force cells to better organize themselves and form multicellular organisms. However, this would take time, billions of years. Life appeared on our planet around 4 billion years ago, and about 1.7 billion years ago, multicellular organisms began to form. If we are an intermediate case, it's expected that life would need at least 2 billion years to create more complex beings. This is what we refer to as a favorable timeframe for life on Earth. With increased competition among species, larger beings with improved physical qualities will develop, capable of overcoming all challenges. Perhaps physical strength alone won't suffice, and other abilities like intelligence might develop. If they were to develop large brains, they could learn to use tools and develop language. Initially, their superiority over other life forms might lead them to believe they are unique or created by an omnipotent god. However, if a civilization values scientific progress, they can continue advancing technologically. An intelligent life form will always be curious and undoubtedly gaze beyond their home planet. Before long, they will send probe robots to other planets within their planetary system, which will make them realize they are not the center of the universe but just one part of the vast cosmos. Even though it may seem simple, life's journey is not easy. To become an interstellar civilization, it needs to master a series of very challenging phases. Certainly, on some planets, life will reach the stars earlier, while on others, they might prioritize their religious culture or become a generation of poets. If they stagnate, they could be more vulnerable to natural and cosmic phenomena, and their progress will be minimal. We don't know how difficult it is to transition to a technological civilization. Life on Earth emerged as soon as the opportunity arose and the oceans formed. It took 4 billion years for intelligent life to develop. After several mass extinctions and numerous coincidences, once we appeared, the development towards space travel happened quite rapidly. The first human species emerged about 300,000 years ago, a small span compared to the planet's life history. It seems that things on our planet sped up as complexity increased. For most of Earth's history, it was populated by microscopic organisms. However, once multicellular organisms emerged, they evolved 25 times faster, and humans evolved thousands of times faster than the entire Earth's history. Despite all the creatures and hominid species similar to humans that have appeared on Earth, only one has managed to achieve advanced technology and build spacecraft. We don't know the necessary steps for life to form on a planet or how complicated it is for a technological civilization to develop. Surely, there are many more challenges on the path. Life can exist on multiple worlds without developing intelligent life. Intelligence is not guaranteed. It's just another facet of the complexity of living organisms. Some animals don't require intelligence to adapt. So, if a species thrives well in its environment and is competitive, it won't necessitate intelligence like humans do. Even though achieving a technological civilization might be challenging, there are far too many planets out there, trillions of worlds with life statistically speaking. Some would have likely reached intelligence. However, we haven't seen or heard anything from other civilizations. We could very well be the rarest creatures in the cosmos or the first to emerge in the Milky Way. But this is just one more piece of an enormous puzzle. We are also at the ideal moment in time. Surely, when the galaxy became habitable, life had the opportunity and emerged. We must be the first beings with minimal intelligence in order to become a technological civilization. Does this mean that if we were a bit more foolish, we would be primates without technology? This makes us wonder how we exist at this moment in the universe. If we delve deeper into cosmic history, we will see that the universe has an age of 13.8 billion years, and it's unlikely that life had the chance to appear earlier. Metallic elements necessary for planet formation didn't exist, and as we go back in time, the environment would be even more hostile. The universe has undergone a long process of evolution due to massive stars exploding as supernovae and galaxies merging. This created more complex elements, and from that complexity, our sun emerged from that cosmic chaos. It appears that the universe has never been as welcoming to complex life forms as it is now. Humanity is in its rightful place due to the ideal conditions that have arisen. But what will happen in the future? Over 80% of the galaxy's stars are dim red dwarfs. The Sun is a rare star that shines quite brightly compared to others, and it will continue to grow brighter as it ages. In about 1.2 billion years, the Sun will begin to change as it consumes the hydrogen fuel in its core. It will expand and become brighter. Earth's surface temperature will reach 75 degrees Celsius, causing oceans to evaporate. In about 5.5 billion years, the Sun will turn into a red giant, engulfing nearby planets Mercury, Venus, and Earth. The Sun has a maximum lifespan of about 10 billion years and is believed to have already lived half of its life. In contrast, red dwarfs have lifespans in the trillions of years. If planets existed around these stars, they would have more time than us for life to become more complex, even though we don't know how rare life might be. I'm confident that there are many more possibilities for life to arise in any quiet corner. For instance, on a moon of a gas giant orbiting a red dwarf. This means that with more time, there are more opportunities for technology to emerge on those worlds where stars have longer lifespans. At some point in their future, if civilizations randomly appear in the Milky Way, they would have at least 1 trillion years to thrive. Each star has a favorable period for life, an interval that exists at some point during their main sequence, which is an evolutionary stage where stars burn hydrogen in their cores and are relatively stable. In the case of the Sun, this period spans billions of years, but even though it's halfway through its life, we've already consumed much of that favorable time. Here we see the Sun's infancy when it was cooler and more active, its mature and balanced phase, and then its gradual heating in old age. Given the long lifespans of red dwarfs, most are in their infancy, and their favorable periods are yet to come. This means that in most of them, only microorganisms might exist at this moment. It's likely that within 2 to 3 billion years, civilizations could emerge during that favorable period, and they will emerge one after another, akin to a tsunami-like distribution. Similar to Earth and the Sun, there will be a favorable period in the galaxy when more civilizations arise. This will also have a deadline, which could be considered the Great Filter. All spacefaring civilizations will have their grace period, and then they will either perish or evolve into other life forms, similar to species on our planet, but on a galactic scale. On Earth, humanity is the dominant species, and any other species faces challenges in evolving. So, any civilization that emerges in the galaxy after that date won't have room to survive. They will have missed the favorable period for expansion. We exist because we haven't encountered the Great Filter. Why are there no extraterrestrials on Earth? Humans are curious, they expand, and they need more resources to sustain a growing population. We've spread across the world, and our technology has progressed, slowly at first, then rapidly. If this trend continues, we will likely expand into space, acquiring new sources of energy. Perhaps we will build structures to better harness solar energy or a swarm of Dyson satellites. We'll traverse interstellar distances, colonizing other worlds. And before the Sun dies, we should already have colonies on satellites within the solar system or on the nearest stars. We will have transformed into a galactic civilization. As we expand, we create a lot of noise and become visible to others. It's similar to humans clearing a forest, starting fires, building roads, and houses. The more aggressive the expansion, the more noticeable it becomes to the natives of the area. So, a technological civilization in its early stages is hard to miss. Our telescopes should be able to detect signals from civilizations in the infrared spectrum, signals of their activities and communications, the artificial interferences. They could be distinguished from natural phenomena. When we clear forests, it doesn't mean the end of life in the forest, but it does mean the end for many species. Some bird and mammal species have gone extinct due to our activities, simply because we needed more space and resources. Similarly, civilizations might have expanded across the galaxy in the past, terraforming planets and harvesting energy from stars. This could have prevented our existence if extraterrestrials had colonized Earth while we were still bacteria in the oceans. Most likely, we would have never emerged in such a scenario. This is how noisy extraterrestrials could create a great filter and a deadline for the emergence of new life forms. Although our galaxy can exist for billions of years, there will always be a favorable period for life to expand and thrive. Even if a noisy civilization were to respect planets with life, similar to how humans treat wildlife, that civilization couldn't expand and would be confined to a small territory. The logical conclusion is that if we're still here, they were never on our planet. But what if extraterrestrials don't expand or behave differently? They might be constrained to their stellar system, or their technology might be so advanced that it becomes silent. The impact on the galaxy would be minimal, and we wouldn't be able to detect them if they remain quiet due to their culture and morality. These types of extraterrestrials shouldn't be a significant concern. Currently, humanity is a noisy civilization with emerging technology and will likely remain so for a while. Perhaps we are unique, but any curious form of life will tend to expand beyond its home planet. So, what's the conclusion to all of this? We're in a stellar competition competition, a galactic race to see who's the most adept. The fact that we don't see other runners means we've arrived early on the cosmic stage. But sooner or later, other civilizations will catch up. Other civilizations will appear throughout the galaxy, and they'll ask the same question as us: are we alone? This is because we're not in the favorable period where one or several civilizations might have conquered everything. In this case, all it takes is one powerful civilization to clear the cosmic forest and establish dominance. So, they'll have to make an important decision: stay silent and start expanding as quickly as possible before others do, or perhaps begin sending space probes with messages to announce their presence as if they were naive children. What's certain is that, initially, they'll send probe robots to investigate what lies beyond. If one day we detect an alien probe in our solar system, it would mean that they might already be en route, given that their technology would have advanced significantly since creating the signals. They could have also located us without our knowledge. This doesn't imply entering into warfare or conflict, but there could be boundaries. In some scenarios, a native civilization might find itself surrounded by other powerful empires without knowing it. We could potentially be in such a situation. If that's the case, when we expand to other stars, our expansion could be restricted, similar to when an animal steps into a territory already claimed by a city. We would be confined to a small portion of our galactic space. If we want to become a galactic civilization, it's much better to get to work in this race. Being ahead of the rest gives us an incredible opportunity to discover and colonize planets we couldn't have imagined before others surpass us. One day, we will encounter them. If we've all learned from our past mistakes, the most sensible thing to do would be to share knowledge and expand together throughout the galaxy. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.